Peace. We back for another episode 142. So let me see. No, let me get rid of these this caption, closed caption. Cause it look like this gonna be a pain. All right. I turned it off. Closed caption is off. Let me go see what YouTube looking like. Let me see. Yeah, YouTube, it started right off. Appreciate that, YouTube. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Let a couple of y'all get in here, at least one person. Let me see who's gonna pop in. Yeah, yesterday was crazy. Bees be going off. Like he can't stay he just can't keep it together. You know, it's like he made people feel like that if we allow him to be around us, he's gonna go to the left. And Beast, you watching the show, man. If Still City wants you to come around, they're gonna see how you went from 1 to 10 real quick. And they're gonna say, should we have this guy around us? Cause he going from 1 to 10 real quick. And the way he's gonna talk, because everybody don't have tough skin. I have tough skin because you say certain things, a lot of people be thinking, they be like, why you let Beast talk like you? To me, you're not saying nothing to me that's bothering me. It's like you're not really getting on me. That's you know, everybody don't have that tough skin. Everybody don't look past that. Cause for one, if you around people that's like been in prison and stuff like that, you're going to hear people talk like that. Or I got 7 brothers. 2 of them no longer here. But I got hold up. Yeah, 2 of them no longer here. But I got a lot of brothers. So I get different versions of people. So, I got tough skin. Stuff like that don't bother me. And, I went to a school and people try to pick at me because I'm dark skinned and I was heavy when I was younger. So that's tough skin. It just taught me how to be a comedian. I could have been a comedian, psych. What's up on Precisely? Appreciate you popping in. I hope this stream doesn't end earlier than it's supposed to. I might have to end up having 2 streams because I forgot on TalkShoe to put it at 3 hours because 3 hours it keeps it from kicking. But hopefully I don't do no 3 hours. Last night I did 6, almost 7 hours. That was crazy. That was crazy. I think you kept popping in and out, but 7 hours, that's almost 7 hours is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That was crazy work. Shout out to JMMA. Him and Beast. Give me a second. I was charging my phone, my wire popped out. Yeah, JMMA and Beast, they pulled it together at the last end. Even though Beast, Beast is Beast. But they pulled it together at the end. A lot of people ain't see it because it was on my talk show. I might put that video out because that was like the end. Like I think it's like a half an hour more or 45 minutes more. Yeah, trying to get some people in. Appreciate you popping in, but I'm trying to let at least one more person pop up, and then I start reading the script that I got. I guess I could give out my shout outs early. Shout out to Don D 205 or 205, however you want to say it. Don D, salute to you. He's very supportive. He always reposts my posts. He always speak about me, and I appreciate it. Shout out to JMMA. I appreciate you. Shout out to the base. Shout out to I'm Precisely _1. Shout out to Dame Shot. He was here yesterday. Shout out to Remy. I think he be shadow watching. Shout out to who be here? Lamont Davis. Shout out to Aaron. Shout out to there was a lot of people here yesterday. I appreciate y'all. If I forgot your name, hopefully y'all pop up and I give y'all a shout out then. You know, shout out. I can't forget to shout out AJ Pax and Leafy. They're my co-hosts. You know, shout out to them. Y'all know what I'm gonna talk about. I know people be like, man, all you do is talk about Undisputed. I'm not only talking about Undisputed because my thing is developers, like I tell y'all every day, and I'm gonna probably say it every day. Developers watch this show. That's why I be trying to get y'all to get on the talk show and talk. So y'all ideas don't float up in the chat. You know, y'all get on here and talk and speak. And developers can see what Steel City is not doing right, even though they could see it. But, you know, they can hear how y'all feel about what Steel City is doing. My thing, you know, I got a big problem with some people, even though a lot of these guys are my, I call them my friend, they try to make the game better than what it is instead of, you know, saying, hey, it's a broken game, but we're gonna play it. But their thing is they try to make it seem like it's fixed. You just not playing it right. I can't accept that. I really can't accept that. Let me see. You still in the chat, or you just put your name in and walked away precisely? I'm trying to see if my chat froze or something. Because it's like I can't have a good day without a hiccup, without something messing up. Yeah, we had a lot of people, even people from the Discord in here yesterday. I think I had over 200, almost 300 people that viewed the show yesterday. That was great because the numbers was going up. Okay. All right, AJ Pax. AJ Pax, he's shadow watching. Appreciate you popping in, AJ. Yeah, well, I guess two people, I guess I'll start the show because, you know, even though AJ Pax is technically the co-host, but, you know, two people here. All right. Because people could see this, they're going to see this later anyway. All right. Why this show exists. Let me be clear about something because I think it keeps getting misunderstood. This podcast isn't about clout. It's not about chasing views, algorithms, or monetizing YouTube. It's not about trying to become a personality or build a brand. This exists for community. I've been around gaming long enough to see cycles repeat, narratives get rewritten, and legitimate criticism get brushed off as hate or negative. What's missing isn't passion. What's missing is space for informed discussion, long memory, and uncomfortable but honest conversations. That's what this is. This podcast is a place where fans can talk without being told to lower their expectations, where criticism doesn't mean entitlement, where experience matters, where questions get dismissed because they're inconvenient. That's not what this podcast is about. I don't need everyone to agree with me. I don't want an echo chamber. I want real dialogue. If there if you're here for hype only, this probably isn't for you. If you're here because you care about the genre, the game, the developer doing it right, and the fans who deserve better than you're expecting, who this is for, excuse me. If you're here because you care about the genre, the games, the developers doing it right, and the fans who deserve better, then you're exactly who this is for. This isn't about tearing anyone down. This is about accountability, transparency, and respect for the people who supported these games for decades. No sponsors are driving this. No algorithms are dictating the conversation. No clout metrics decide what gets discussed. The community does. And if that makes some people uncomfortable, that that says more about them than it does about why this podcast exists. This is the space for people who care deeply, think critically, and refuse to accept excuses as progress. That's it. The mission. If you're here with the right intentions, you're always welcome. All right, let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. First, let me pull up my other script. I had to write them separate, so one wouldn't get buried under the other. Let me see. All right. It's still y'all two in here. All right. Everybody probably worn out from yesterday. That was a long podcast. All right. Let me see. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. All right. This episode isn't about gameplay. It's not about graphics. It's not about realism. It's not about balance, patches, or timelines. Episode 142 is about ownerships, not legal ownership, not creative ownership, because right now, boxing games exist in a strange space where nobody involved seems to fully own the vision. And that's the problem with genres keep dodging. The illusion of community-driven development. Studios love to say, we're listening to the community, but listening isn't the same as authoring it. Most feedback loops today are reactive, loud voices, short-term sentiments, streamer pressure, patch-driven appeasement. What gets lost is something far more important: intent. When a game has no strength, authoritative spine, it becomes a mirror instead of a statement. And mirrors don't lead genres forward. What boxing games can't be designed by why boxing games can't be designed by polls. Boxing is a crowd design sport. It's a discipline built on structure, contradictions, style clashes, long-term consequences. When design decisions are made to avoid backlash instead of express vision, the results isn't accessibility, it's bland neutralizing. Bland neutralizing. Every boxer feels viable. Every style feels safe. Every match feels familiar. That's not inclusively. That's erasure. The missing role no studios talks about. Here's something you almost never hear in boxing game development. Who is the author of this experience? Not the studio head, not the marketing team, not the loudest testers. The boxing voice. The people, the person or group empowered to say, no, no, that breaks the language of boxing. Most studios don't give the role real authority. So decisions drift. And drift is deadly in a sport defined by identity. White boxing games feel afraid of being wrong. Boxing is messy. Judges disagree. And this is my biggest thing right here. There are going to always be fans that argue about the judges. Online, give them what they want. Offline, let us have judges the way they are in real life. Every judge sees things differently. Because what's going to happen is people going to complain no matter what. Judges look at things differently. If you're just moving around, jabbing, one judge is going to think you're not being aggressive enough. You're not being a ring generalship. So one judge is not going to see it that way. You see it that way. And you feel the judge should have gave it to you. That's not how things work. That's why you could tell how casual a lot of people are. They really don't know boxing. Every judge do not. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Some judges look for aggressiveness. Some judges look for boxing control. They look for different things. All right, styles age differently. Great boxers lose badly sometimes. Fans argue forever. But modern boxing games are terrified of that mess. They try to smooth it out. In doing so, they remove debate, memory, controversy, identity. Games stop creating stories and start creating sessions. Games stop creating stories and start creating sessions. That's safer and forgettable. All right. The real question is asking, is the game good? It's asking who is the game speaking from? Because when a game has a voice, players can disagree with it and still respect it. When it doesn't, players stop caring entirely. And indifference is worse than criticism. What ownership will actually look like? Creative ownership doesn't mean ignoring fans. It means saying, this is our interpretation of boxing. You're invited to challenge it or not rewrite it. It means letting some styles dominate others. Letting errors feel incompatible. Letting choices have consequences. Letting players be comfortable sometimes. That's how sports games mature. Not by not by pleasing everyone, but by standing for something. Boxing video games don't need louder communities. they need clear authorship. Until someone fully owns the vision, the genre will keep circling the same arguments, the same frustrations, and the same disappointments. Let me see. Here goes some deep dive points. Let me see who's in here. Working and listening to the show in the background. Okay. Figure that. All right. Boxing games without an authoritative voice. Boxing games without an authoritative voice. These are deep dive points. Who actually has final say on what boxing means inside the game? What happens when design decisions are driven by risk management instead of conviction? What games will with no clear voice feel technically functional but emotionally empty? Difference between feedback and direction. Community feedback is data, not leadership. What reacting to every complaint slowly why reacting to every complaint slowly erodes a game identity? How strong creative direction absorbs criticism instead of chasing it? The cost of design for short attention cycles. The cost of designing for short attention cycles. That's how companies look at y'all. Y'all got short attention spans. That's how they look at y'all. Systems built to feel good for 10 minutes versus systems built to last 100 hours. Why pick up and play often feels drop and forget? How long-term mastery has quietly disappeared from boxing games? Boxing as a language, not a feature set. Footwork, rhythm, range, and fatigue as grammar, not mechanics. What gets lost when systems don't talk to each other? Why disconnect mechanics create hollow player expression? Style, this is a different question. A different talking point. Styles identity versus force balance. Real boxing isn't fair, and that's the point. Why force and universal viability flattens boxers' personalities? How asymmetry creates stories players remember. Asymmetric. This is another question. Another talking point. Why boxing games avoid consequences? No long-term punishment for bad habits, no lingering effects that force adaptation. Why consequence-driven design scares modern sports studios? Why consequence-driven design scares modern sports studios? These are questions we got to ask studios. All right. Fear of letting players be uncomfortable. Games that constantly protect players from failure. Why frustration, confusion, and loss are part of learning boxing. Comfort first designs as a creative killer. Let me see. Give me a second, y'all. All right, these Q&As. I think y'all like the Q&As better. Let me see. Yup. What's up, Lamont Davis? All right. Industry answers versus reality with rebuttals. Isn't it better to keep systems simple so more players can enjoy the game? Industry answer. Simplicity lowers the barrier to entry. Complex systems scare players away. My rebuttal. Confusing systems scare players away. Deep systems invite players when they are coherent. Complexity isn't the enemy, opaque is. Boxing is already complex. Hiding it doesn't make it accessible, it makes it shallow. Why should boxing knowledge matter if the game feels good to play? Industry answer. Feels matter more than accuracy. More boxers won't notice the difference. My rebuttal. Players don't need to notice details to feel inconsistency. They notice when outcomes don't match effort. They notice when adjustments don't work. They notice when the game teaches nothing. That's not a feel issue, that's a logic issue. Can competitive players help define balance better than the boxing experts? Industry answer. Competitive players expose broken mechanics faster than anyone. My rebuttal. They expose exploits, not authenticity. Exploits are systems, symptoms. Balance without boxing context turns optimization into distortion. A game can be perfectly balanced and completely unrecognizable as boxing. That's why it annoys me when I hear the word balance, because I know what can go wrong. Is it asymmetrically risky for online fairness? I know y'all said Pope butchering that word. I sure do. Industry answer. Players expect fairness in online competition. My rebuttal. Players expect clarity, not equality. Fairness comes from understanding trade-offs, not mirroring strengths. Real boxing isn't fair on paper. It's fair in consequences. Removing asymmetric tree removes identity. Why not let testers decide what feels right? Why not let testers decide what feels right? Industry answer. Testers represent the player base. My rebuttal. Testers represent experience, not direction. When testers decide vision, games become average. Average doesn't inspire loyalty. They produce temporary engagement and long-term apathy. And this one of the things that we was talking about yesterday. Who should, I don't think we was talking about it yesterday, but it's a conversation I had before the show. Who should test a video game? Who should be the testers? Who should be the play testers? And my answer is, who should touch it first? It should be boxers, people that box. That box. Trainers, historians. They should touch the game first. And who else should touch it? People that they know boxing. They that know it. Then the gamers, the competitive gamers and gamers touch the game. But first, we gotta know that it's boxing. Then you see what's wrong with it. We don't need you to see what's wrong with it first, because to them they're gonna say, "Hey, that's too much testing. We don't need all that testing." They're gonna try to take the easiest way out and try to push the game out as fast as possible. I think they're gonna push the game out fast again. Undisputed 2, I think they're gonna push it out fast. Faster than we want. Let me see. All right. I was looking to see what's in the chat. Isn't realism subjective anyway? Industry answer. Everyone has a different idea of realism. Industry answer. Everyone has a different idea of realism. My rebuttal. Interpretation is subjective. Logic is not. Fatigue affecting output is an opinion. Distant affecting success isn't preference. Cause and effect is not negotiable. Cause and effect is not negotiable. Do offline modes really matter that much anymore? Industry answer. Online engagement drives longevity. Industry answer. Online engagement drives longevity. My rebuttal. Online keeps games visible. Offline keeps games understood. Without long form modes, systems never mature. Without maturation, online metas collapse into repetition. Offline is always going to be important. Can't patches fix missing depth over time? This is a question people always say. Give us the game. We don't care if it's broke or not. Just put a patch and fix it. Nah, patches can make things worse if they don't like literally have the time to fix the game. People keep asking, hey, just give us a patch, put the game out and just give us a patch. No, that was the worst thing that ever happened. Industry answer. Live service allows us to build gradually. Oh, live service, yeah. Live service usually do the job. But the original game should come out without a hiccup. No major problems. My rebuttal, though, you can tune death. You cannot retrofit foundation. If systems weren't designed to interact from day one, patches just stack contradictions. Why worry about genre's credibility when sales are decent? Why worry about genre's credibility when sales are decent? Industry answer. Sales prove players are satisfied. My rebuttal. Sales measure curiosity, not retention. Credibility shows up in longevity, discourse, and memory. A genre doesn't die when sales drop. It dies when belief disappears. Isn't controversy bad for games' image? Industry answer. Negative discourse hurts perception. My rebuttal. Indifferent hurts more. Debates mean players care. Silence means they've moved on. Sports thrive on argument. Boxing especially. Why involve historian, trainers, or analysts at all? Industry answer. They're not game developers. My rebuttal. They're not there to code. They're there to guard logic. Ignoring subject matter expertise doesn't make development faster. It makes mistakes invisible until launch. Ignoring subject matter expertise doesn't make development faster. It makes mistakes invisible until launch. That's why historians, trainers, and analysts are needed in a studio. They got y'all believing different. What's up, PLO 617? Isn't this expected too much for a video game? At the end of the day, it's just entertainment. That's the industry answer. At the end of the day, it's just entertainment. My rebuttal: entertainment doesn't excuse incoherence. Players don't ask for perfection; they ask for intention. Respect the sport, and the audience will respect the game. Why not prioritize mass appeal first, death later? Industry answer: broader appeal keeps the light on. My rebuttal: death is what keeps players staying after the lights are on. Mass appeal without death creates churn, not growth. What if only a small group want to level? What if only a small group wants this level of authenticity? Industry answer: we can't design for a niche. That's the escape word. They keep calling it a niche sport. Boxing is not a niche sport. And y'all got to stop following behind what these developers tell y'all. It's not a niche sport. They wouldn't be making the game on the high level that they are making it on. Well, supposed to be making it on. It wouldn't be boxing is not a niche because it makes too much money. There's too many games that have been made for it to be a niche sport. You know, I'm gonna say it, every time it pop up. All right, my rebuttal: every endurance sports franchise starts by serving its core honestly. Chasing everyone serves no one well. Chasing everyone serves no one well. And this is something I've been saying for decades, for over 3 to 4 decades. What's the real risk if we don't do any of this? Industry answer: worst case, the game underperforms. My rebuttal: worst case, the genre loses its voice. And once players stop believing boxing games can be deep, they stop asking for better ones. And that's what a lot of y'all do. Y'all stop asking for stuff. And you know what they do? They give us the bare minimum. If players can win without boxing correctly, is that really a problem? Industry answer: winning is a part of the fun. Players will always find their own way. My rebuttal: when incorrect habits are rewarded, learning stops. A boxing game that doesn't punish poor fundamentals teaches nothing. Freedom without consequences isn't expression, it's noise. Why not tune difficulty instead of changing systems? Why not tune difficulty instead of changing systems? Industry answer: difficulty sliders let everyone play their way. My rebuttal: difficulty changes resistance, not meaning. If the underlying logic is flawed, scaling numbers just hide it. Boxing isn't harder punches, it's smarter interactions. I'm seeing what y'all saying in chat. All right, let me see. Does animation quality matter more than system depth? Industry answer: players react to visuals first. My rebuttal: visuals attract attention. Systems sustains belief. Great animation with broken logic feels fake faster than average animations with truthful outcomes. Why can't we balance realism through presets? Industry answer: presets lets player choose how authentic they want the experience. My rebuttal: presets don't fix contradictions. They fragment design instead of clarifying it. Boxing logic shouldn't be optional. It should be consistent. No, it should be sliders for that. All right. It's offline. Boxing logic shall sliders offline. Isn't long-term testing expensive and time-consuming? This is a good one right here. Isn't long-term testing expensive and time-consuming? Industry answer: extended testing slows production. Rebuttal: shipping untested interaction slows recovery. Shipping untested interactions slows recovery. Long-term testing saves patches, saves reputation, and player trust. Shortcuts always cost more later. And that's the problem what we have today, because they skip long-term testing. And this I heard from the horse's mouth. Can telemetry tell us what's broken? Industry answer: data shows up what players use and avoid. My rebuttal: data shows behavior, not intent. Players optimize around flaws. Without content telemetry, mislabels symptoms as preferences. Why not let competitive metas evolve naturally? Why not let competitive metas evolve naturally? Industry answer: metas change over time. My rebuttal: metas evolve when foundations are sound. When they aren't, metas stagnate around exploits. That's not evolution, that's erosion. Do players really want to think this much while playing? Industry answer: most players just want to relax. My rebuttal: thinking doesn't mean stress, it means agency. Players relax when choices matter and feedback is clear. Isn't authenticity limited creativity? Industry answer: creative freedom requires bending reality. My rebuttal: constraints create creativity. Boxing rules are what makes styles innovative. Ignoring them produces sameness and not innovation. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Nothing. Why do design around highlight moments? Why not design around highlight moments? See, a lot of people in the industry say highlight moments is what catches the casual fans. And with Steel City, they kind of missed the opportunity, because the replays setup, if they would have did it better, the replays, those would have looked good for content creators. I know all the things that will capture that's good content for content creators that should be in the game. And a lot of people won't be like, they never thought about it. They never looked at it that way, but it makes good content. Trust me. I'm gonna write a list of the things, and I'm gonna break them down for you content creators that say Poe don't know what he's talking about. He just saying stuff. Why not design around highlight moments? Industry answer: highlights are what players remember. My rebuttal: highlights only matter if they're earned. Without build-up, they feel empty. Boxing drama lives in accumulation, not speculation. Not spectacle. Do testers really need boxing literacy? Do testers really need boxing literacy? Industry answer: fresh eyes catch problems experts miss. Fresh eyes catch problems experts miss. My rebuttal: fresh eyes find bugs. Informed eyes find broken logic. Both are necessary. One is not a substitute for the other. The point I was trying to make earlier. Why should online matter? Why shouldn't online players lead design decisions? Why shouldn't online players lead design decisions? Industry answer: they're the most engaged users. My rebuttal: engagement doesn't equal perspective. Online players optimize environments, not sports. They need guidance, not control. Can't licensing and presentation carry the experience? Industry answer: real names in arenas create immersion. My rebuttal: licenses create recognition. Systems create belief. Without belief, presentation becomes decoration. Why does boxing need deeper systems than other sports games? Industry answer: other sports work fine with simpler mechanics. My rebuttal: boxing has no teammates to mask flaws. Every mistake is exposed. Simplification doesn't streamline boxing, it empties it. Isn't it unfair to expect studios to get everything right? Industry answer: perfection isn't realistic. My rebuttal: perfection isn't the standard, intent is. Players forgive mistakes when they see purpose behind them. Players forgive mistakes when they see purpose behind them. What if players reject this vision? Industry answer: risk hurts sales. And it's supposed to. My rebuttal: safe design hurts identity. Without identity, growth plateaus. Even during franchise, every enduring franchise accepted risk early. Excuse me. My rebuttal: safe design hurts identity. Without identity, growth plateaus. Every enduring franchise accepted risk early. Why should testers challenge design instead of confirming it? Industry answer: testing is about validation. My rebuttal: validation without challenging breeds blind spots. Testers should pressure systems, not comfort them. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Nobody popped in. Yeah, I think everybody, they got frustrated from yesterday. All right, this is something I was talking about. Play testers. Let me see. Who should be the play testers for a realistic boxing video game? For a realistic boxing video game, play testing can't be one size fit all. If realism is the goal, the play test pool has to reflect the sport, the science, and the audience, not just who's loudest online. Active and former boxers, amateur and pro. Why why they're essential. Instant recognize fake movement, fake reactions, fake pacing, feel when distance, timing, and punishment are wrong. Understanding fatigue, hurt states, clinch pressure, and recovery instinctly. I mean. What they test best: foot realism and balance, punch commitment and recovery windows, hurt days and survival behavior, clinch logic and inside fighting. Without them, you get animations that look right but feel wrong the second gloves are on. So what I'm reading here is a lot of game testers are not going to recognize that, especially if they get these guys that are fighting game testers. They get these guys who are fighting game testers, Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you name it, all these fighting games. So they're coming over here testing a boxing game. You cannot test a boxing game, a sports game, the same way you test a fighting game. Even though somebody said they're the same thing, fighting and boxing is the same thing. They're not the same thing. There really isn't. And I'm not talking about you. I'm not gonna say it because I'm trying to avoid getting in conflicts with everybody. I'm not talking about that person. All right. Trainers, coaches, cutmen, cornermen. Why they're critical. They see boxing as systems, not moments. They understand strategy, adjustments, and ring IQ. They know how styles clash over time. What they test best: round to round adaptation, corner advice logic and AI adjustments, stamina management and pacing, style identity, pressure versus movers versus counter puncher. Without them, career mode becomes shallow and feels samey. But they also could be like the cut man, the trainers and all that. They still could have that AI for online mode. You go back to the corner and your corner telling you things. So that would be another element that they could add to online mode. That the AI for the trainers, the AI should be watching the fight with you, and your trainer, depending on the trainer that you have, they could tell you different directions. You ain't gotta listen to them, but they could tell you what they see or what they feel you should do. That will add a lot of depth to the online modes. All right, boxing historians and analysts, why they matter. Boxing realism isn't just physics. It's heritage. Styles change across eras. Legends don't all move or fight the same. What they test best: era-specific pacing and tactics. Style authenticity, peekaboo. Does it mean Philly shell? European guard. Philly shell doesn't mean European guard. Whether legendary boxers actually feel like themselves. Without them, every boxer becomes a reskinned template. Simulation focused boxing gamers, offline heavy players. Why they're vital. They stress test death over flash. They live in career, universe, and CPU versus CPU modes. They notice exploits and repetition. What they test best: AI versus AI realism, career longevity and immersion, slider systems, tendencies, capabilities, fatigue. Long-term balance without human cheese. Long-term balance without human cheese. Without them, the game collapses outside of quick matches. Competitive online players. Late stage, not early. Late stage testing, not early. Nowhere in the world they should be testing the game early. Why they still matter with limits? They expose exploits fast. They pressure test responsiveness and net code. They push skill ceilings. What they should not control: core mechanics, damage realism, pace and punishment. Best use. Bring them in after realism is locked and not before. Bring them in after realism is locked, not before. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. All right. Animation, physics, and system designers. Internal testers. Why they're necessary. Can isolate whether an issue is animation, logic, or testing. Translate feedback into actionable fixes. Ensure systems interact correctly under edge cases. They validate consistency, stability, and system inter capabilities. The correct testing order. This matters. Boxers, trainers and coaches, historians and analysts, simulation-focused gamers, internal system designers, competitive online players. Reverse this order and the game will drift toward arcade behavior. A realistic video game isn't validated by who wins online matches, it's validated by who recognize themselves in the ring. If boxers, trainers, and historians don't nod their heads while playing, no amount of competitive behavior will save the experience. All right. Some people feel competitive players should absolutely play test a boxing game. They just should not be the first primary and loudest voices when the goal is realism. The core problem with that argument: competitive games optimized for winning. Frame advantage, exploits, input speed, meta dominance, realistic boxing optimization for risk versus reward, fatigue and consequences, positioning and timing, punishment for mistakes, styles identity over universal tactics. These goals overlap, but they are not the same things. The analogy that makes it click: you don't ask Formula One esports racers to design the suspension of a real F1 car. You ask engineers and drivers first. Then you let esports racers push the limits after the car is built. Same logic appears here. What happens when competitive gamers lead playtesting? If competitive gamers are in charge of early, punches get faster and safer. Defense becomes too strong. Stamina stops mattering. Risk disappears. Everyone fights the same way. Meta replaces boxing. The game may be balanced, but it stops being boxing. What competitive gamers are actually great for? They are specialists, not architects. Use them to find exploits. Use them to stress test input buffering. Use them to expose infinite loops. Use them to identify dominant strategies. Use them to pressure test online responsiveness. That's late stage work, not foundation work. So competitive gamers should not be testing a game early in the stages because they're going to mess the game up, which I'm pretty sure they're part of it too, part of the problem. No disrespect to the people that's competitive, that's part of my chat, but real is real. All right. The order matters more than the people. The order matters more than the people. This is the line most people miss. Who play test first defines the game identity. Who play test last refines it. If realism is established first, competitive play adapts to boxing. If competition is established first, boxing adapts to competition. Those outcomes are wildly different. Competitive gamers should absolutely be involved, but only after the game is correct, not before. You don't balance boxing first, you balance after boxing exists. Competitive gamers are not the enemy. They're just not the authority on realism. When competitive voices dominate early, you don't get realistic boxing. You get a fighting game wearing boxing gloves. If someone disagrees, the question is simple. Are you building a boxing simulation or a competitive game that happens to use boxing animations? That's the fork in the road. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. See it just stand in the chat. At two different test pools should be required. Pool one, the boxes to send feedback to fix nuances. Pool two, everyone to send feedback for exploits. Exactly. But don't mix the pool. Exactly. 100%. I wonder in what year they stopped testing with the boxers. It looked like they stopped testing after a couple of months. At least I think they stopped when Will came. I think when Will came, that's when everything stopped with the boxes. So I think Will came in 2021. So I think that's when they stopped. I think what's his name? Sonny Edwards left after that. Yeah, because eventually Sonny Edwards, he left out the studio. Based on yesterday's segment, describe a pull. Why you bring that up? Yo, I ain't even got to read the. Based on yesterday, the segment of describing pull counter is a good example of why there needs to be two different pools. Oh man, AJ, man, why you bring that back up? That was so funny. That was comedy. Jay, I think Jay was doing that. Jay was trolling. I'm 1% sure he was trolling. I'm 1%. I'm almost banking on he was trolling. Let me see. All right. If competitive gamers are so good at finding exploits, why not let them in early? Because finding exploits before the sport is accurate leads developers to patch around problems that should never exist. Early exploits often come from the unrealistic mechanics, not balance issues. Fixing the exploits without fixing the realism locks bad design in place. Hope y'all listening to this. I hope y'all listening to this. Developers, Darby, isn't realism subjective anyway? Presentation can be subjective. Physics, fatigue, distance, recovery, and risk are not. Boxing have measurable truths. If realism were purely subjective, trainers, boxers would not agree on fundamentals across generations. What if boxers disagree with each other during playtesting? That disagreement is valuable. Because I know that's something somebody would have said. Well, you're gonna have boxers in there, they don't agree with each other. That's valuable. That's good. That's good. That's why there should not be just one boxers in the studio. And I think it. All right, give me a second, y'all. Yes. Yeah. All right. All right. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Back. Give me a second. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Oh yeah. All right. Let me see. I think I stopped off. Isn't realism subjective anyway? Presentation can be subjective. Physics, fatigue, distance, recovery, and risk or not. Boxing has measurable truths. If realism were purely subjective, trainers, boxers would not agree on fundamentals across generations. All right, I see where I'm at. Can competitive gamers accurately judge punch damage? Can competitive gamers accurately judge punch damage? They can judge efficiency, not consequence. Competitive gamers often favor safe, repetitive damage. Real boxing damage includes shock, delay, delayed reaction, accumulative trauma, and psychological hesitation, not just health reduction. See, that's what people they be complaining about, but they don't really know what they want. That's why I'm saying that's why people that's in boxing that experience things and see things, they should be play testing the game. So we could see, I mean, a boxer could say, hey, that look like real damage. That look like what happens in the ring. A lot of casual players, they over exaggerate stuff or under exaggerate stuff. Does involved non-gamers slow development? Does involving non-gamers slow development? No. It prevents rework. Fixing realism early is cheaper than rebuilding systems after release when the foundation is wrong and the community is already divided. This community is extremely divided. And they're just starting. A lot of people, they want to come together, then they start pulling apart. I'm like, this community and the EA community are two different communities. That's how you could tell after 15 years how things, no disrespect to this generation of gamers, but it seemed like they are more accepted to anything. They accept anything. So by you accepting anything, and the company's looking at you that way, they looking at you like you will accept the bare minimum and you will pay for the bare minimum. And this leads to a topic that they're asking on Twitter. Should players be paying the same price for a digital game as they do for a disc, for a hard copy of a game? And my question, and my answer was always for the last couple of years, because this has been a question that's been going on for about a decade or two. And my thing was, it's crazy to pay the same price for a digital copy of anything because there's no manufacturing cost. Everything's coming off a server. You don't have no production costs. You're not making discs. You're not making the boxes that the discs go into. You're not paying people to work on machines. Even though now the machines could do these things without other people, like a big full staff making them, but still, you're still not using production costs. I mean, there's no production costs, so you shouldn't be paying the same price for digital, but people are happy to pay for it. That shows you the complexity of this generation. And no intentional disrespect, but y'all accept things. Y'all okay. Y'all don't complain about, y'all don't protest about certain things. Y'all accept it. Because if y'all protest, Jay proved the point. But Jay didn't stick with it. His thing is he saw people still buying the DLC. Yeah, some people were buying it. You scared the heck out of Steel City. You scared Steel City. It doesn't matter that people still bought it. Everybody then still buy it. You scared Steel City. That right there was enough. I don't care if everybody bought it. You scared them. Jay Shep, he scared Steel City. His video, it scared Steel City. So it shows that y'all have more power than y'all think. Especially the people that's not getting paid by Steel City. No matter what, if y'all talk slick about Steel City or say something negative about Steel City, they're still going to want you to work with you because your fan base trumps everything. If you got a lot of followers and your videos are getting, they're gonna have to find a way to work with you. They're gonna have to work around y'all disagreement. But people are scared to say something bad about a game company. You make them get better by saying something. You make the company get better by saying something. Salute, Leafy. What's up, Leafy? Just thought I'll pop in before I go to Kimpo. It sucks. It sucks. I'm a part of a new generation of gamers. I don't act like those other clowns. You sure don't, Leafy? Yeah, the digital argument is dead. Unfortunately, it becomes a standard. They aren't going to make them cheaper anymore. Yeah, people accept it. And my thing, I like a hard copy of a game. And my understanding in this generation, they think about now. Everything is now. And my thinking about me having a hard disk is if the power shuts off, y'all gotta think. I'm letting y'all think like how I think. If the power shut off, or we would, let's say so-called we was in some type of apocalyptic situation. I got a generator. I could play my game offline. I could play my game, but people don't think like me. If I got a generator, I got some way to have some type of internet, some type of video game or something, I could play my game. But if everything goes down, now, like, let's just say the internet service go down, you can't still play your game. But people accept that. They really accept it, and that's crazy. That's crazy. People just accepting things. They making you, it's what you call your programming. You programming people to accept things. It's like people being rocked to sleep. That's when people hear that word woke, they automatically see people stupid. What is the opposite of woke? Sleep. So sleep is better than woke? It's just that they slickly attach the word woke to things that we disagree with. They attached it to that. That's not what the back in the 90s and stuff, that's not what woke was. That's not what woke was. They changed that to fit certain narratives that don't go with what woke really means. So if you're not woke, that means you're asleep, because you got to remember, everything is the opposite. It got an opposite to it. Let me see. The issue is not a lot of. The issue is that a lot of hard copies no longer have the entire game in them. You need to download the rest. Yeah, because that people, we still got to push for it. What's up, Jay? I gave you a shout out earlier. AJ Pack said, here going the pull counter rise. Jay, that was a good show yesterday. I appreciate you. Yeah, it was a crazy show yesterday. Y'all man, y'all had me going bananas over here. Y'all had me going crazy over here. I said, man, y'all went from 1 to 3 to 100. Yo. Let me see. Let me see. Why not just tune realism later with sliders? Sliders cannot fix missing systems. You cannot slider your way into correct footwork, realistic clinching, or proper fatigue behavior if those mechanics were not designed correctly. That's true and false at the same time, because they do it all the time in 2K. I know that triggers people, but they do it in 2K all the time. 2K have some people that's real passionate about it. And one thing that was brought to my attention is you got people, and I see it, Gilbert Arenas. If you look at Gilbert Arenas' his YouTube page, he's playing basketball. He playing 2K. He's enjoying it. I saw a lot of basketball players enjoying it. But with boxing, nobody's enjoying this game. And it's not because boxers do not play boxing games. It's a lot of boxers that say they are video gamers. But they don't like what Undisputed is. They really don't. What happened is realism conflicts with online fairness. Then the question becomes whether the game is a sport simulation or an esports product. Boxing itself is not perfectly fair. Asymmetry is part of the sport. Removing it removes identity. Can competitive gamers understand style matchups? Can competitive gamers understand style matchups? They understand matchups in terms of counters to mechanics. Trainers and boxers understand matchups in terms of tendencies, habits, fatigue, and mental pressure. Those are not the same lenses. Why not? Why can't competitive gamers represent casual players? Because competitive gamers are onliners. No, competitive players are outliners. They optimize faster, break systems quicker, and tolerate repetition more than the average player. Design around outliners skews the entire experience. Is arcade necessarily bad? No, arcade is a design choice. The problem is calling something realistic when the testing process guarantees it will not be. How do you prevent boxers from asking for unrealistic dominance of their style? By testing systems, not egos. Feedback is filtered through metrics like risk, stamina cost, recovery time, and positioning. The question is not whose style wins, but whether the style function honestly. Can realism hurt accessibility? Only if poorly taught. Depth does not reduce accessibility. Lack of onboarding does. Realistic systems with strong tutorials scale better than shallow systems with artificial difficulty. Give me a second. Just saying in. Laughing out loud. Jace laughing. He said, "Man, I was just having fun." You sure was. Very Jerry Springer. What's up, Dominique? Salute. Last night was funny. It was very funny. Gil also says a lot bad about 2K too, and says they need to fix something. But that's a great thing. That's a great thing. It's a great thing when you hear boxers basketball players actually critiquing a game. JMMA say, I'm confused on the competition versus simulation concept. The same thing, right? No, competition and simulation, two different things, because y'all gonna play the game. Y'all not gonna play the game sim like a realistic. Y'all not gonna play the game realistic, especially if they have the realistic mechanics. Yes, simulation can be competitive, but when you're talking about competition online, like literally y'all competing, is they're two different things. You know, I have no idea what a pull counter is, so You might have to explain that. Yo, that's crazy, man. Stop playing, man. Simulation is the environment. That's what AJ Pack said. So go watch Floyd. He was the master of the pull counter. Yeah. Competition exists inside of the environment. Yeah. Let me see. I read, can realism hurt accessibility? Only if poorly taught. Death does not reduce accessibility. Lack of onboarding does. Realistic systems with strong tutorials scale better than shallow systems with artificial difficulty. Why does playtesting order matter so much? Because early testers influence what developers consider normal. Once something feels normal internally, it becomes harder to challenge, even if it's wrong. That's why the right people got to play test the game early. The right people have to play test the game early. What is the danger of early meta formation? Early meta shapes animation priorities, balance assumptions, and AI logic. If the early meta is unrealistic, everything's built on top of it inherits the flaw. Can competitive gamers help with AI testing? Yes, but only after AI has realistic goals. Otherwise, AI learns to exploit systems instead of building principles. That's why I say, like, competitive gamers, like, they got the competitive gamers testing offline and online. On Offline and online are two different ways of being played. The competitive gamers, a lot of them, they really don't want to play offline. They want to stay online. So when they play offline, they want it to be as hard as possible. And that's not what a lot of people want, how they want to play the game. So you should let offline people that play offline primarily test it for offline. The people that play online primarily, they should play online. Those are the testers. I'm like, who gathers these people to test the game? There should be groups of different testers. What should competitive gamers be told before playtesting? That their role is to break the game. I say that all the time. Their role is to break the game, not redefine the sport. That should be their only priority. Their only priority should be that their role is to break the game, not redefine the sport. Their feedback is about stability, not identity. But a lot of these play testers, they don't do that. Do Steel City give them the chance to do it? Probably not. But they do not do that. And we have to push for that. We got to push for them to have better play testers. And I know a lot of y'all looking at this from Steel City. It might be 2 or 3 developers, but I know other developers are watching. And your play testing pool should be different. There should be a multiple. I could give you a list of the play testers that you should have in place. You know, if you're a developer, just hit me up with an email or something, or hit me with something, and I'll let you know the list, how it should look. How do you stop loud voices from dominating feedback? Structure feedback channels. Each tester group answers different questions. No open suggestions, free for all. No open suggestion, free for all. Why do many sports games feel the same despite licenses? because they were tuned for competitive balance first and realism second. The test and pipeline made them converge, make them merge together. Let me see what y'all saying. Let me see. Competition. Let me see. No, Jay said, I'm not a play test problem. I mean, it's not a play test problem. It's a Q&A problem, in my opinion. No, when the competitive gamers, and this not something I'm just guessing or just writing a script or anything. This was also told to me because developers, they pick the wrong people to test the game. Like competitive gamers, when they test early, they're going to test with a competitive edge, and they're going to forget about all the things that's really wrong with the game. And then when the developers get back the game, all them things going to exist. They just happy that they're competitive with what they have, broken or not. So that's what's going to always happen. Let me see. Shout out to Box Eye View. Appreciate you popping in. Jay said it's not a play test problem. It's a Q&A problem. In my opinion, the team is testing stuff before anyone. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. No. Let me go back and explain it to you. Let me see. Is that give me a second. Yeah, let me read the first line. This how usually go. For realistic boxing video game play testing can't be one size fit all. If realism is the goal, the play test pool has to reflect the sport, the science, and the audience, not just who's loudest online. Active and former boxers, amateur and pro, why they're essential. Instantly recognize fake movement, fake reactions, fast pace, feel when distant, timing and punishment are wrong, understand fatigue, short states, clinch pressure, and recovery instantly. What they test best: footwork, realism, balance, punch, commitment, and recovery windows. Hurt days and survival behavior, clinch logic, and instant fighting. With them, you clinch logic and inside fighting. Without them, you get animations that look right but feel wrong the second gloves are on. Then you get trainers. I'm not going to read that because I read the trainers, coaches, and cutmen. That's the second line of defense. Boxing historians and analysis. That's the third line of defense. Simulations focused boxing gamers. That's the fourth line of defense. Competitive gamers. They're the fourth line of defense. Competitive online players, late stage, not early. Why they matter? Why they still matter with limits. They expose exploits fast. They pressure test responsiveness and netcode. They push skills ceiling. What they should not control is core mechanics, damage realism, pace, and punishment. Best use, bring them in after realism is locked, not before. Then you got internal play testers. And it should be like boxers, trainers and coaches, historians and analysts, simulation-focused gamer, internal systems designers, competitive online, they're like the sixth on the list. If they reverse the order, the game would drift toward arcade behavior. And this is what competitive gamers like when they're testing. They competitive game optimize for winning, frame advantages, exploits, input speed, meta dominance, and realistic boxing optimizes for risk versus reward, fatigue and consequences, positioning and timing, punishment for mistakes, style identity over universal tactics. These goals overlap, but they are not the same thing. Yeah, let me see what y'all saying in the chat. In the context of this company, I disagree. All right, all right, I'm not. Okay, I get what you mean. I agree. If SEI did value that input, but I don't believe that to be the case. Maybe it's different with this new team, but your position is very understandable. Appreciate you, Jay. To differentiate Q&A versus testing, think of Q&A. Think of the Q&A of the framework in order to create the testing scenarios. So then the question is, what is ISO framework that is being used at SEI? That's a great question. Let me see. What should competitive gamers be testing? No, what should competitive gamers be told before testing? That their role is to break the game, but redefine the sport. Their feedback is about stability, not identity. How do you stop loud? Let me see. I read this already. Give me a second. Did I go to something else? Oh, yeah. Because I went on to a different post. I was rereading the different posts when Jay came. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. What's the one thing studios underestimate most? Industry answer: player patience. My rebuttal: no, player memory. Players remember when a game respects them. They remember they remember even longer when it doesn't. Still City is digging themselves a big hole. Because they feel that they could just be quiet. They probably be quiet until March, if that. It's like they're gonna be as quiet as they can. And hopefully everybody just keep accepting. If it's up to them, they probably be quiet until they release Undisputed 2. Give me a second. But the question should be directed to a director or upper manager to figure out what is in place. Yeah, that's true. To me, Still City is so fractured, and it's like everybody just doing, hey, we got a game. It's like it's like Dorothy when she built the team. You got the Scarecrow, you got the Lion, you got the Tin Man, and they just with you, but you didn't know none of their skill sets. Even though the Lion, he's technically supposed to be strong. The Tin Man, he got the axe so he could fight, and he's defensive. And the Scarecrow just smart without even knowing he's smart. That's the funny thing about they got a whole team, but they don't know how to use them. What is the requisites needed to consider a competitive gamer? Let me see. What is for a competitive gamer? Let me see. When you play online, the way y'all play, when y'all play, y'all playing for wins and y'all playing in these tournaments and stuff, that's competitive gaming. Yeah, that's what competitive gaming is. When y'all be playing online and stuff like that, y'all looking for wins and stuff, that's competitive. Y'all looking for yeah, the leaderboards and stuff like that. What defines competitive gamers? Winning, basically what I was saying, winning is the primary objective. Competitive gamers play to optimize outcomes, not to explore systems. Success is measured by win rate, rank, and records. Losses are analyzed mainly to prevent future losses. Enjoyment is tied directly to performance. Winning isn't just part of the experience, it is the experience. Optimization over expression. They look for they look for the most efficient path to victory. Fastest strategies, lowest risk options, most repeatable outcomes, highest reward for least effort. If a tactic works consistently, it becomes correct, regardless of realism, theme, or intention. Meta awareness and meta defendants. Competitive gamers play the meta, not the fantasy. They track patch notes closely. They adapt immediately to buffs and nerfs. They abandon styles that fall out of favor. Individual identity takes a back seat to what is currently dominant. High tolerance for repetition. They are comfortable repeating the same action thousands of times. Same characters, same tactics, same situations. Variety matters less than reliability. Systems exploitations it seems as mastery. System exploitation is seen as mastery. Finding loopholes isn't cheating in competitive culture. If the systems allow it, it's fair game. Edge cases become strategies. Unintentional behavior becomes normalized. The line between mastery and exploitation is judged by permission, not intention. Loss is attributed to internal first. Loss is attributed internally first. Excuse me. When when competitive gamers lose, common explanations are balance issues. When competitive gamers lose, common explanations are balance issues, latency or netcode, matchmaking, exploits or broken mechanics. Self-reflection comes later, if at all. Short feedback loops are preferred. They favor systems that provide immediate confirmation, instant punishment or reward, clear cause and effect, minimal delay consequences, long-term degradation or cumulative effects are often viewed as random or unfair. Fairness is defined as symmetric. Competitive gamers usually define fairness as equal access, equal tools, equal potential outcomes. Asymmetry is often seen as imbalance unless tightly constrained. Identity is secondary to rank. Identity is secondary to rank. Rank, leaderboard position, or competitive status matters more than style, narrative, role playing, immersion. Progression is external and visible. Time investment is weaponized. Time investment is weaponized. Time spent equals advantage. Studying frame data, practicing inputs, learning exploit windows. Mastery is earned through grind, not discovery. What competitive gamers are not. This matters just as much. Not all competitive gamers are toxic. Not all are elite players. Not all want realism. Not all care about authenticity. They are not villains. They are simply goal-oriented optimizers. Why this matters for boxing games. Competitive gamers are essential testers, but dangerous sole decision makers. They are excellent at breaking systems, finding dominant tactics, stress test and balance. They are not suited to define sport identity, preserving boxing logic, designing long-term progression, representing stylistic diversity. A boxing game built only for competitive gamers become efficient, repetitive, meta-locked, and stylistically flat. Bottom line, competitive gamers aren't defined by how good they are. They define how they approach games. Designing with them is smart. Designing only for them is how sports games lose their soul. Let me see. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. I feel maybe one quiz is to be at least 1,000 on the leaderboard. I feel it, JPEX. I think you just defined me. Oh man, box out view. Another we requisite is a lot of time to study for personal development. Kind of diet. Men and max hours of sleep. Network with others in the discipline. What are you talking about? The player count is about to increase because it is free on PlayStation. Yeah, my son, he called me and told me, he said, yo, he said, bah. He said, they about to have Undisputed on PlayStation. I said, man, you'll be an idiot if you buy that game. I mean, if you get that game. He said, oh, I forgot you don't like the game. Because my son, he won't play it either. But he thinking because hey, it's gonna be free on PlayStation. I should get. I said, don't even help them. What you talking about, JPEX? Sound like you going through a redevelopment phase, like you trying to give what they say, you trying to give inspiration to somebody. And I don't even think that's the word I was looking for either. But it's like you trying to help people think better about themselves. Motivation. It's like you're trying to be a motivational talker right now. I don't know what's going on. I just stepped in. I'm trying to see what y'all saying because I wasn't on this page. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Back. What y'all talking about? Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying. Why don't boxing games model bad habits forming over time? Industry answer. They level, that level of tracking will be too complex and restrictive. That's an industry answer. My rebuttal. Bad habits are the foundation of boxing stories. Ignoring them removes learning arcs and adjustments. Without bad habits formation, every match exists in a vacuum. Isn't it unrealistic to expect players to adapt mid-fight? The industry answer. Most players won't consciously change strategy. My rebuttal. Adaptation doesn't need to be conscious to be real. Games can nudge behavior through consequence. Boxing is adjustment, whether players label it or not. Why not reset boxers to full effectiveness every round? Industry answer. It keeps round feeling fair and exciting. My rebuttal. Rounds aren't resets. They pause. There are pauses. Removing carryovers removes narratives and stakes. Do judges' tendencies really matter in video game? Do judges' tendencies really matter in video games? Industry answer. Players prefer clear, objective scoring. That's what I was talking about earlier. People don't realize what judges looking for and stuff. Because everybody fight the same way. And the judges is going to score you the same way. They don't fight like they don't look at. That's how you could tell people don't really watch boxing, or they think a boxer lost, and then you rewatch it with somebody that know what they're talking about. You say, "Oh, I see it," because all judges do not judge boxing matches the same. All judges do not judge a boxing match the same. They all have preferences of what they like. Someone might judge it the same way, but that's not always the case. All right. Do judges' tendency matter in a boxing video? In a video game. Industry answer. Players prefer clear, objective scoring. My rebuttal. Boxing has never been fully objective. Boxing has never been fully objective. Judging variance creates strategy, not confusion. Ignoring it sanitizes the sport. Ignoring it sanitizes the sport. People want clear cut, hey, I think I won, so I should have won. But you don't realize that the other person had more ring generalship, and he probably was hitting you with certain things that the other judges saw as better, or they hit you with more punch. Even though you had ring generalship, you weren't paying attention to. You kept getting tagged with your ring generalship. You probably was moving around like they looked it good and stuff, but you probably was still getting tagged. You probably was throwing one or two good punches, and the guy probably hit you with like 3 or 4 punches, that you really weren't paying attention to. Why simulate momentum when skills should decide outcomes? Industry answer: momentum feels artificial. My rebuttal: momentum is skill interaction with psychology. Ignoring it turns boxing into math instead of combat. Ignoring it turns boxing into math instead of combat. Can't stamina bars already represent exhaust well enough? Can't stamina bars already represent exhaust well enough? Industry answers: stamina bars are clear and familiar. My rebuttal: exhaustion isn't a bar. Exhaustion isn't a bar. It's lower reaction, worse decisions, and compromise defense. Bars are symbols, not substitutes. Bars are symbols, not substitutes. Why do corner dynamics matter if players control the boxer? Why do corner dynamics matter if players control the boxer? Industry answer: players don't want outside interference. My rebuttal: corners aren't interference. They're interpretations. Removing them removes guidance, tense, and personality. Isn't predictability frustrating in competitive play? Industry answer: consistency is key for fairness. Consistency is key for fairness. My rebuttal: predictability kills drama. Boxing lives in controlled uncertainty. The key is readability. The key is readable chaos, not randomness. Why track damage accumulates instead of just knockdowns? Why track damage accumulations instead of just knockdowns? Industry answer: knockdowns are the main event. Knockdowns are the main event. My rebuttal: knockdowns are outcomes, not process. Accumulations tell the story. Without it, knockdowns feel arbitrary. Do referees need personalities in a game? Industry answer: refs should be invisible. See where I'm getting with this? Do referee needs personalities in a video game? In a game. Industry answer: refs should be invisible. That's exactly what they did. Rebuttal: refs are part of the ecosystem. Their presence affects clinching, fouls, and pacing. Invisibility and erases realism, not immersion. Why not equalize recovery rates for fairness? Why not equalize recovery rates for fairness? Industry answer: unified recovery keeps things balanced. My rebuttal: recovery variance is balanced. Different bodies, styles, and conditions matter. See, this is where Steel City mess up too. Boxers have different recovery rates. Boxers have different body types, different ways of when they get attacked. You should, like, if you know your history on the boxer, if you did the research on the boxer, you know they have a tendency to get hurt with a body shot. You know, things like that. Offline. It ain't got to be online, but offline. And things like that makes for great content creators. Isn't it too much to simulate ring geography? Isn't it too much to simulate ring geography? Industry answer. Most players don't notice positioning details. My rebuttals. Players fill space before they understand it. Ring control shapes offense, defense, and pressure. Ignoring it flattens tactics. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Give me a second. Let me see. Yeah, 100%. Film studies all this. What's up, Narco Reacts? I appreciate you, man, for popping in. Oh, he's not still here because it didn't pop up. Or I just said your name wrong. I mean, I typed your name in wrong. Still popped up. Yeah, I'm guessing you're not here. Let me see. All right, let me get back to it. Why including fouls if players will abuse them? Why include fouls if players will abuse them? Industry answer. Fouls invite exploitation. Rebuttal. My rebuttal. Unpunished fouls invite exploitations. Proper enforcements create mind games, not abuse. Proper enforcement creates mind games, not abuse. Why does fight pacing needs to vary so much? Industry answer. Consistency helps learning. My rebuttal. Variety teaches adaptability. One tempo teaches repetition. Boxing is not rhythmatically uniform. Can't difficulty settings replace intelligence and AI? Industry answer. Scaling difficulty is efficient. My rebuttal. Difficulty scales output. Intelligence changes its decisions. They are not interchangeable. Why do late behavior needs to feel different? Industry answer. Players are already tired by then. My rebuttal. Late round define boxing identity. Desperation, discipline, and survival emerge there. If late rounds feel the same, the fight has no arc. Isn't crowd influence just cosmetic? Industry answer. Crowd reactions are presentation. My rebuttal. Crowds influence momentum, pressure, and emotion. Ignoring that removes atmosphere and stakes. Why not let players spam what works? Industry answer. Players should use effective strategies. My rebuttal. Effectiveness without degradation encourages exploitation. Boxing punishes predictability. Games should too. Do training camps really need death? Industry answer. Players want to get to the fights. My rebuttal. Training defines fights. Without preparation, outcomes feel disconnected and hollow. What's the biggest missed opportunity in boxing games? Industry answer. Licensing, breadth. My rebuttal. Continuity. Letting fights mean something beyond the final bell. Continuity. All right, let me see what y'all saying in the chat. I'm still here, Paul. All right, Lamont, dear, appreciate you, man. Thinking people stepping off on me. Why don't boxing games model fear or hesitation? Industry answer. Those emotions are too abstract to simulate. My rebuttal. Fear already exists in mechanics. It shows up as delayed reactions, guarded movement, and risk avoidance. Ignoring it doesn't simplify boxing. It removes humanity. Isn't consistency more important than realism? Industry answer. Players expect predictable systems. My rebuttal. Predictable systems aren't the same as consistent logic. Boxing isn't consistent in cause and effect, not outcomes. Boxing is consistent in cause and effect, not outcomes. Mistaking the two leads to sterile design. Why not let every boxer recover the same between fights? Every boxer do recover the same between fights in the game. There's really no difference to me. All right, industry answer. It keeps career progression clean. My rebuttal. Recovery difference or career progression. Bodies are differently. Styles age differently. Uniform recovery erases long-term storytelling. Do styles really need to clash that hard? Industry answer. Extreme matchups frustrate players. My rebuttal. Clashes create identity. Without stylistic tension, every boxer becomes a mirror match. Frustration comes from confusion, not contrast. Why track damage to specific areas instead of overall health? Why track damage to specific areas instead of overall health? Industry answer. Players prefer simplicity. My rebuttal. Specific damage creates strategic targeting. Generalized health turns boxing into attrition instead of craft. Precision adds meaning, not clutter. Isn't ring IQ too subtle to matter in a game? Industry answer. Players can't see decision makers. Players can't see decision making. My rebuttal. Players feel decision making through timing and positioning. Ring IQ expresses itself even when outspoken. Removing it makes boxers feel interchangeable. Why not normalize punch effectiveness across fighters, boxers? Why not normalize punches effectiveness across boxers? Industry answer: if it presents imbalance complaints. My rebuttal: punches aren't just design values, they're risk, timing, and commitment. Normalization erases what boxers fight. Normalization erases why boxers fight differently. Why include clinch why include clinch nuance when players hate clinching? Why include clinch nuance when players hate clinching? Industry answer: clinching slows the action. Industry answer: clinching slows the action. My rebuttal: clinching is action. It controls recovery and frustration warfare. It controls recovery and frustration warfare. Removing it turns pressure fighters into caricatures. It removes what a pressure fighter is. It removes what a brawler is. It removes what a slugger is. Because a slugger will clinch you because they're going to throw a lot of punches, then clinch you because they're tired from throwing a lot of punches. Isn't it better to make every round feel exciting? Industry answer: downtime hurts engagement. My rebuttal: tension needs valleys. Constant excitement numbs players. Boxer drama is built on contrast. Why not script comeback moments? Why not script comeback moments? Industry answer: comeback feel good for players. Industry answer: comebacks feel good for players. My rebuttal: scripted drama feels fake. Earned comebacks feel legendary. Players know the difference immediately. Players know the difference immediately. Why should an endurance affect technique? Industry answer: technique should stay consistent. My rebuttal: technique degrades under fatigue and real boxing. Ignoring that turns exhaustion into a cosmetic penalty instead of a tactical one. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Let me see. Poe, do you think ring IQ and momentum is a direct relation? Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can go together. EA Sports has it as a direct relationship, but then the lead down to the path of arcade style gaming. But then that leads down the path of arcade. Yeah, the way they implemented it. Let me see. That's a good question too. Let me see. Short answer, yes, but it's not automatic or one directional. Ring IQ and momentum has a conditional feedback based relationship, not a guaranteed one. Here's the clean breakdown. The direct relationship when it exists. Ring IQ influence momentum when decisions consistently create advantages. Ring IQ includes direct control, time and awareness, risk selection, knowing when to press, coast, clinch, or disengage. Reading the opponent's fatigue, habits, and emotional state. When those decisions reduce damage taken, increase clean scoring, force the opponent into bad choices. Momentum builds naturally. Crowd reaction, confidence, pressure, and incentives all start tilting. In this case, high IQ, sustainable momentum. Where the relationships break, momentum can exist without ring IQ. Example, a lucky knockdown, one punch shot swinging a round. Opponent mistakes unrelated to your decision, scripted or artificial comeback mechanics. In this case, momentum does not mean intelligence. It's temporary, volatile, and often collapse once conditions change. That's why momentum without ring IQ burns stamina faster, encourages bad habits, leads to overextension, disappears under pressure. The feedback loop, the important part. The real relationship is cycling, not linear loop. Ring IQ creates small advantages. Advantages build momentum. Momentum increases confidence initiatives. Confidence allows better decision making. Better decisions and reinforces ring IQ expressions. But here's the key. If momentum outpaces ring IQ, the loop breaks. That's when boxers get reckless, abandon spacing, chases finishes, walk into counters. Great boxers manage momentum. They don't chase it. Why this matters, especially for games. In a good boxing game, ring IQ shapes in a real boxing game, in a good boxing game system, ring IQ should shape momentum. Momentum should amplify or punish decisions. Momentum should never override logic. Bad design does this instead. Momentum boosts stats regardless of decisions. Bad design does this instead. Ring IQ becomes cosmetic. Comebacks feel scripted. Players can win while boxing poorly. That's where things fall apart. Clean rule of thumb. Ring IQ is the cause, momentum is the effect, but only when the systems respect consequences. Momentum should reward correct behavior, not replace it. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Salute, Bacon Jr.'s algorithm. I spoke to Corey Spinks and Zab Judah yesterday on TikTok. If they will be in the next upcoming game, they both said yes. Yeah, I talked to Corey Spinks last year, and I was No, it was 2 years ago. And I talked to him again last year. I was trying to get him. He said he was going to ask him to be in the game. And I told Todd Grisham that he wanted to be in the game. And Zab Judah. We had Zab Judah for round. You know, I got him to being round for round, but they never made a game. So that don't even, me even talking about it don't even mean nothing. Let me see. They will be in the next undisputed game. They both said yes, they're waiting for the bread. Allegedly, SCI hasn't paid them. Let me see. Spink said they flew him out to LA already. He did the scans, etc. I suppose they are waiting for more money. SCI. Yeah. SCI got the money. They got the money. Because the Westcombs could give it to them. The investors. Something sound out of whack of what Corey Spinks and Zab saying, because Steel City should be able to give them the money. Because the investors would give it to them. Let me see. See how many people hit that like. If people still here, please hit the like. I got 82 people that were here. I should have 82 likes. I should have 82 people that like the show. Hit the like button on your way out. Yeah, let me see. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm gonna read a couple of more and then I'm gonna end the show. Because I already did my 2 hours. I did more because yesterday I did 7. I'm not doing no 3, 4, 5, or 7 hours today. Let me see. Small playing me out. Give me a second. I know what I did. Give me a second, y'all. Yeah, that's what I did. Give me a second. Let me see. I appreciate you coming here. Whoever's here listening, please hit the like button. Or if y'all listening to it later, please hit the like button. Why don't boxing games model hesitation after being hurt? Why doesn't boxing games model hesitation after being hurt? Industry answer: that will feel like input lag. My rebuttal: hesitation isn't lag. It's delayed commitment and reduced confidence. When hurt boxers act fearless, the sport loses credibility. Isn't it better to keep control fully responsive at all times? Industry answer: responsiveness equal quality. My rebuttal: responsiveness without consequences equals arcade behavior. Boxing punishes overcommitment. Games should reflect that risk. Why simulate punch anticipation instead of punch reactions? Why simulate punch anticipation instead of punch reaction? Industry answer: reactions are more exciting. Reactions are more exciting. My rebuttal: anticipation is boxing. Pure reaction play rewards. Pure reaction play rewards guessing, not reading opponents. That undermines the sport's intelligence. Why not allow unlimited style switching mid-fight? Industry answer: flexibility gives player freedom. My rebuttal: styles switching without cost remove identity. Style switching without cost removes identity. I was saying this. A lot of people thought I was just being over the top, but no. Real boxers adapt, but adaptation has friction. Friction is what makes adjustments meaningful. Isn't emotional modeling too subjective? Industry answer: emotions are hard to quantify. My rebuttal: so is timing, so is confidence, yet both are already simulated indirectly. Ignoring emotion doesn't remove it, it misrepresents it. Why track defensive discipline instead of just reaction speed? Why track defensive discipline instead of just reaction speed? Industry answer: speed is easier to balance. That word again, balance. My rebuttal: discipline determines when speed matters. Without it, fast boxers become reckless characters. Characters, not characters. Characters. What should stamina affect? No, why should stamina affect decision making? Industry answer: players control decisions, not the game. My rebuttal: fatigue changes perception, not control. Games can influence options without removing agencies. That's realism done right. Why not remove judging entirely and focus on KOs? That's a arcade question. Somebody asked that. That's an arcade question. Why not remove judges entirely and focus on KOs? That should be a mode, not just the base game. Industry answer: KOs are decisive and exciting. Industry answer. That's an industry answer. My rebuttal: removing judges removes tension. Not every great fight ends in a KO. Boxing's drama lives in uncertainty. Why simulated corner stoppages? Why simulate corner stoppages? Industry answer: players want control over outcomes. My rebuttal: corner stoppages protect boxers and tell stories. Taking them out removes realism and moral weight. What's the one thing boxing games still don't trust players with? Industry answer: failure. My rebuttal: failure is the teacher. Without it, improvements feels hollow. Boxing without consequences is just animations. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. That was my last one I was going to go through. All right. I'm going to end the show. Shout out to Bacon Jr. Algorithm. Shout out to AJ Pax. Shout out to Leafy for popping in before he went to practice. Shout out to who I'm gonna say. Shout out to AJ Pax. Shout out to Lamont Davis. Shout out to Narco Reacts. Shout out to JMMA popped in. Shout out to Box Eye View for popping in. I appreciate you popping in. Shout out to Plo 617 for popping in. Shout out to what's his name? Precisely. Didn't Card Boxing come in here? Shout out to Dominique. Yeah, Card Boxing came in. Shout out to you, Card Boxing. I appreciate you. Let me see. Precisely was here first, wasn't he? I thought he was. All right, shout out to everybody that came through, that support this show. And I'm hoping to get y'all on here. Yeah, later, salute. Yeah, I'm hoping to get y'all to come on the show to actually, like, talk, so these developers and people that listen to the show can hear what y'all thinking and what y'all want to say. What's up, Blastax? You came in late, or were you shadow watching? I'm about to log off. I'm about to end the show. Appreciate you, man. Hit the like button, whoever here. And shout out to all the developers that watch my show. I appreciate y'all. And I'm hoping that y'all come on the show with the voice changer and the blurred out image. But yeah, I just, I'm happy that all of y'all support the show, and I hope the show get better. And it only gets better when y'all come on the show and help me let the developers hear what y'all want to say. This is not my show. This is our show. So until the next show, peace.